So welcome to this episode on Russell's football history, and today I wanted to speak about a particularly thorny subject in football, and especially English football this week, and that's VAR, because there's been two things this week that have happened. The most glaringly obvious is the Newcastle-Manchester City League Cup semi-final first leg and a disallowed goal for a Haaland offside. But there is another thing that was said, and that was following the FA Cup third round games, an article from BBC, and it was echoed by a number of people saying it was refreshing to see a weekend of football without VAR. So we'll talk about the Newcastle-Manchester City incident. So essentially, a goal has been disallowed because Haaland is offside, and because of that, he was interfering with the defender, and the goal was ruled out. So, on the face of it, sounds right, and the decision was, by law, correct. The problem, and this is not the first time with VAR, and it is not the last time, it is the time taken to reach the decision. But also, why? Because it took almost 6 minutes from when the goal goes in to VAR to look at it to letting the ref know, ref's looking at the screen and then announcing the decision that the goal's disallowed. Now, if you haven't already seen it, go and see it, because Haaland is a hair offside. You know, it's not one of these which is, he's majorly offside, you know. He is a hair offside, and they have decided, and by law, it is correct. But as I say, over 6 minutes to make the decision. Now, since, obviously with that incident, and there's been plenty of others over the years, it's again called, especially by fans, but some pundits as well, as get rid of VAR. You know, it's slowing the game down, it's sucking the fun out of it, they're trying to look for reasons to disallow goals and other elements, and it is literally ruining the game. So that's reinforced then by a weekend of FA Cup third round action where there was no VAR, and the article with the BBC, and voiced by a number of other people as well, saying it was refreshing to have a weekend without any VAR, any talk of controversies and all of that, and I agree in a way. But let's remember why VAR was brought in the first place. Because if people think there's controversy now, they have to remember there was controversy before VAR. So VAR came into football law in March 2018, and it was introduced into the Premier League in 2019-20. So it's been with us for about 5-6 years now. Obviously, it was trialled in other competitions, kind of 2017 and 2018. Now, if you want to have a look at VAR in a world of the Premier League before VAR, check out Charlie Austin's rant on YouTube or whatever social media channel you look at. He was playing for Southampton, goal was disallowed, it was obviously given as offside, and he is not happy. And obviously this is before VAR, so he's clearly angry, and obviously he's just incredulous that the officials are given an offside. So that was not a one-off incident. Referees and linesmen are human, and they make mistakes. So in the world before VAR, mistakes were made. It is why one of the reasons football is so popular is because of contentious decisions. Yes, there are some outright decisions which we can almost all agree on that are unbelievable. But there are a lot of decisions where it might be, if it's for your team, like a penalty given, you'll be like, oh, great, yeah. But if it was a given against your team, you'll be like completely different. Oh, he's dived. I can't believe the ref's given that. So VAR was kind of brought in to try and stamp out those obvious errors. But we find ourselves in a world with VAR of they are trying to correct almost everything. And this incident on Tuesday night was just the latest in a long line of controversies with VAR, where there's a lot. Yes, they get decisions right, and they've overturned some, and they've spotted others, and fantastic. But that gets lost in the fact that, like Tuesday night, they get involved, and you think, what are you doing? Because while the decision was technically correct, did the linesman and the ref make a clear error? No, absolutely not. Linesmen are great. Their vision is brilliant. We all sometimes we might say, Lino, you need glasses and all that, but trust me, look at the way they do their job, and they get a lot of decisions right, a lot more than they get wrong. So there's no blame attached here to the ref and the linesman, but because the VAR intervenes, takes over almost 6 minutes to make a decision, why? Now, for those people who do want to get rid of VAR, and you think, but Christian, the world before VAR was better, I asked you to do one thing. Because while the comment following the FA Cup third round was, it was refreshing to see a weekend without VAR, I asked you to take your Premier League glasses off, take your Champions League glasses off, and come and join us in the Championship and League One and League Two. And my challenge is, pick a team, any team, whether you go to the game or you watch them on TV, because almost every game is on TV these days. Watch one team for 5 games. So there's no VAR. And if you can't come out of those run of 5 games, whether you've seen that team home or away, or just 5 of the home games or whatever, and you've not seen anything that you've gone, geez, I can't see why the ref's given that, or I can't believe he wasn't offside, or how was that a penalty, then you are just not, you weren't watching. Because there is still football that exists without VAR week in, week out, and we still see what was the life before VAR like for the Premier League. Humans making decisions. Now, I'm not blaming refs and linesmen. They are going to get things wrong. But getting rid of VAR is not the answer. So the bottom line is, you are never going to remove controversy from football when humans are still involved. So goal line technology, that has removed 99.999% of controversy. There is only one time I can think that in major football that goal line technology has failed, and that was a Aston Villa Sheffield United game just as we came out of COVID. But there is no more controversy about goal line technology anymore, because it's not humans, it is technology, and it works. But where you have humans involved, whether it's just the ref and 2 linesmen, or the ref, 2 linesmen and 2 VARs, you are going to have controversy. So straight away, and I think all football fans know this, you are never going to eliminate it as long as you've got humans involved. But you can improve VAR, and it is a very simple improvement. And it is this. When something happens, the VAR has got 1 minute to decide if the ref and the linesman on the pitch have made an error. And if you cannot decide in 1 minute with the multiple replays that we get these days and have had for a while, then it's not a clear and obvious error. And that is simple. That is literally all you do. Because if you'd taken 1 minute to look at the Haaland decision, you wouldn't have given offside. Because it was not clear until you start drawing lines and doing all this. And that's it. That's how you fix VAR. Now, it doesn't fix it all. There will still be decisions which pundits and people will talk about. But at least you will not stop the game for 4, 5, 6, 8 minutes is the record. Bournemouth Wolves FA Cup last season. 1 minute. If you cannot make your mind up in that 1 minute with multiple replays, you stick with the on-field decision. While it will still rile some fans up, the fact that it's taken a minute and not 5 or 6 or 7 or 4 or 3, that will be much better for the fans. What you should see then, in most cases, there will still be 1 or 2 that slip through, is the VAR will be looking at obvious errors. Was Haaland 12 feet offside? Yes or no? Was that a bad tackle? If you cannot tell in 2 or 3 replays, You stick with what the ref did or gave or didn't give. And that is it. So VAR is going to be with us. It has changed football. There's not good things with VAR, as I say. But it's just the time. Introduce the 1 minute rule. You will bring down a lot of the issues. You will not eliminate everything. You will never with human intervention. I don't care if you have 50 people watching a game and talking about the decisions. But if you introduce the 1 minute rule, it's that simple. So, yeah, VAR, keep with it, 1 minute rule, done. And as I say, if you really are adamant you want to go get rid of VAR, come and join us in the Championship, League One and League Two. Watch the games there. And while you'll appreciate that we don't have to sit there in silence for 5 minutes going, what the hell is going on? You will still get the frustration of a decision going against your team and you'll be like, how has he given that? You'll go home, you'll watch it on TV and you're like, how did he give that penalty? Or you'll look at it and go, we're a bit lucky to get that penalty. Or so, yeah. Before you start screaming, take your Premier League glasses off, take your Champions League glasses off, come and join us. Championship, League One, League Two, or any level of football where there's no VAR. And just see the other side of it before you start screaming to get rid of VAR. So, we'll see where it goes, but this will not be the last VAR controversy of the season. I'm sure there'll be many more to come. I'll leave it there.